I'm going to start things off again before game one starts, before I can be called biased or
Okay.
reactionary for saying this, but I don't want to see a repeat winner in PCS3. Now, take of that what you will.
Jeez.
Take of that what you will, but yeah, again, you know, the top three, obviously we're talking about, they've looked fantastic all year. I would love to see all three take one home. But we'll have to wait and see. But for some reason, it feels like it's taken us weeks to get here. I don't know why PCS3 has felt that way, but
yeah,
maybe it's the anticipation building.
I think it really is, because this is basically the culmination of the entire year, right? It is. We have three teams that potentially could take it, but I also want to talk about some of the teams that maybe aren't getting as much love, or even some of the underdog teams. I think one of them for me is actually Dodge. I think Dodge is in a unique position where the roster changes have helped them. They've obviously had a much better group stage, I think. And I want to see what they can do and see if they can shake up this lobby. But they're not the only one, Puck. It's pretty much, I just want to see any team shake it up. And I think I agree with you when you say that you don't want to see a repeat winner, because that would really set something up great for whatever's in store next year.
Yes, it absolutely will. I think Dodge is a weird one for me. We saw them have a really good end to the group stages.
Right.
But I guess they were quietly consistent, but they kind of popped off in the last week, right? That was when they looked particularly good for me. But game one has come around. We didn't quite manage to see the playing path, but it was from northwest all the way down to the southeast. And
this is your type of circle.
That's a white and fate circle if ever I've seen one. But yeah, popping pretty hard up to the northwest. Not too much of a cut off on the unplayable on the west side, but definitely the center, obviously lying around Crater Fields, the south side of Crater Fields in between Pozo. So going to be an interesting one to start things off, because we know this one's got a couple of choke points in terms of the teams that have to make it in from the southeast over from the east side of the map. Obviously, the way the roads do play out in terms of the high ground and these kind of valleys that you see on Miramar are interesting to watch. I'll leave it at that.
It is, and the terrain also just around Pozo in general, especially going north if the circle does end up pulling that way, is it's really difficult to play that terrain, especially with vehicles, because there's a lot of different elevation levels, a lot of little mountainous regions, a lot of hills that vehicles don't do well in, and so most of those fights and rotations happen on foot once the circle gets to phase 4 and 5 up towards the north, and that's where things get a little sketchy for some of these teams. But that's also what makes Miramar so exciting, is the fact that you have a lot of teams just fighting on foot and rotating on foot for the most part once you get towards, the midway point of the game, I should say.
Yeah, it is. And again, you sort of get that gamble. We can call it a gamble, I guess, where, you either commit to the high ground or you don't. And like you said, depending on whether or not this one goes north, obviously Crater Fields is one that usually leaves a bit of
a mess.
Yeah, it leaves a bit of a mess towards the late game if the circle does close in on there. But again, we'll have to wait and see. These are all speculations, obviously. I luckily have shaken my circle curse to an extent, so maybe we won't see it today. But STK, they're still hanging around. Obviously, north side of their loot spot. We know Hacienda team, so they are in the first circle, but expecting them to make pretty early moves at some point. Again, can't fault their group stage performance, but I mean, Kurt even said it himself, is they do suffer from that group stage curse, and it would be a shame to see them obviously repeat PCS2 performance, even though they didn't do that badly, but there were a lot of missed opportunities when you look at it on a game-by-game basis.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what potentially they also were looking at, what may frustrate SJK as well, is because they came from behind in the last grand finals. They did not have a good start, and they catapulted up the leaderboards, which is obviously what's so impressive about them. If we look over here to Dodge, actually, if you want to talk about circle position, Puck, this is actually a really good position for them to be. This is pretty much the White Temp Fate circle that we kind of talked about earlier up in Pozo, where you guys used to loot, and that's where Dodge currently sees themselves.
Yeah, it is, and this is what I was talking about again for teams rotating in. This is the high ground I was talking about. It's yes, very come strong. Circle 3 and 4, you can try and get up here, but I mean, at that point, if you've kind of sat and seen the previous circles, you are committed to obviously one another, because crossing that space in the mid game towards the late game, it's notoriously difficult.
It's so awful. Veritas as well now, getting set up in a actually, this is probably one of the more popular spots on the map. This little compound here that overlooks this kind of road, leads up south down to Monte Nuevo. This is actually a really great spot to camp rotations if that's exactly what Veritas is doing. Obviously, this is a decent position to hold in the circle just as it is, but they should be able to at least cripple some vehicles, maybe get a knock or two, depending on if teams are not careful rotating, and we'll see.
Yeah, well, we did just see Sonics pop onto the minimap there. They obviously got a little bit of pressure. Gas cans were shooting on the way, and they've pulled all the way back to Monte Nuevo right now. But again, Sonics, one of the teams we always look for. That early rotation, send it towards a relatively central position and kind of play off that in circle one circle two posts. But they've been sent back to Monty, so you have to wait and see what they decide to do. It looks like they might actually settle for this for the time being. H-Win going to try and find something a little bit further north, but the gas cans in the distance. Sorry, you can see the logos. They do draw a line between them and Pozo, so to say.
Yep.
I'm seeing actually. In the kill feed, that's way out in the blue, actually. But Duel and One Eye Open getting into it.
Sherry was not. He's finished. So it's actually a trade. So 2 players down, 1 for 1 each. As you said, One Eye Open and Duel are going to be going at it. As we hop back over here, this is also. Oh, it looks like actually Sonics are just going to rotate straight by. I believe they've scouted it. Oldest, not much he can do here. And I like this decision actually to not fire as well, because that is an indicator that Sonics has some players in that compound, a team in that compound. They can either avoid it or they can kind of set up to push it. And yeah, I just like the trigger discipline here from gas cans.
Yeah, again, a couple of other players pressuring in, so Oldless doesn't necessarily need to be the one to initiate that, but Sonics have managed to bypass them. And again, I thought this might be a little bit more difficult for them, but
it seemed that way. But I mean, they just rotated right past.
They're actually going to get themselves up to the west side of, well, actually, we're looking like they're going to occupy the rocks here. And again, this is a good spot for the time being. You don't want to commit into Pozo just yet. Again, got to expect a lot of teams going to send it in that way eventually. You can see actually in the distance here, this is Yaxley and Morado, but further down the road, Vegas has been picked up by the Rumblers. A little bit of a split either side of the road. So again, maybe just an early rotation trap being sprung. It's going to net them a kill point.
Yeah, it is. And Rumblers, I mean, I remember we had used that compound quite a bit, especially for scouting in these circles where we weren't sure if it was going to hard shift north or south. It's a good position right there, just outside Monte. You kind of avoid the big city issues that happen in those big rotations. We have multiple teams driving by, so we'll see what Rumblers is going to do from there. But that's a fairly normal spot as far as to expect where they are. Comments, on the other hand, I mean, they just lost Vegas. They still have a lot of room to work with here as they're down on the southeast part of the map. But as we look at the actual map itself, teams are already starting to center up pretty quickly here, Puck.
Yeah, they have. I'm actually surprised at how many teams we did see. I think we had 5, maybe 6 teams in that initial circle one, because it was a heavy stack down to the southeast and outside on the east as well. But I'm surprised at how many have kind of prioritized centering up here. Again, the furthest south is probably Rumblers and Comets. We do have Tactical 8, One Eye Open, and Duel still to make it in. But yeah, lots of teams feeling each other out early on. Dodge, interesting enough, we did obviously mention them in the early game. They've actually taken a wide split, actually opposite sides of Pozo. Yeah. Obviously the high ground of the church, and then looks like Finner and +1 is down actually in the arena in Pozo. So that's an interesting play right now. Obviously they're banking to try and I guess play off a central pop or a north and south hard shift. They should have a spot in both. And
Veritas also has a very wide split here as well. Veritas now has the best position on the map, arguably.
Do you know what I was going to say? Do you remember we went through that phase of just always getting North Monty circles?
Yeah,
Always. It was a period of like 8 weeks where the circle, if it popped
we were
on the west
looting
side of the map, it would just go Monty.
And then there was a phase where they always kept going south down to
La Triera.
La Triera, as well as Chuma as well. We got a lot of Chuma circles back then.
So, I mean, the good news off of this is obviously the latecomers were down to the south. So a lot of these teams that did center up on Circle 1, they're going to have decent options now to get back in. Veritas, we've already talked about. Sonics, they're going to pull back down. Actually, they're going to run into the hard shifts over here on the roadside. Loeb's going to fall initially to Tiggleton. That nade looks like it could be good onto J-Sank as well, but he's actually going to fall to Mime instead. And the Sonics want to clean this up.
And the Sonics are going to clean this up for the most part. I mean, they're going to send Chuba all the way back. J-Sank Loeb's going down, and that's a big hit. It's just Maluk now, and Chuba left as a duo this early in the game. And, I mean, the Sonics have already started. They had good rotation practices coming in from the west. They were able to skirt just by gas cans, and now they find themselves in a nice position here on the west side of the circle where they can continue to clean up. Now, Sonics historically...
No, I was going to say, Illusion have actually just taken shots, and they're still outside west side, so this actually gives Sonics an opportunity to set up. So sorry to go over, just saw that there. Shrimsy took a tag, and...
totally fine.
That's, again, we were talking about trigger discipline a little earlier on. That they're giving some information over to Sonics. It doesn't look like they want to camp them, but interesting decision there. It looks like they're actually just going to pull south and maybe cut across the field towards Monty, but...
I actually really like that rotation from them. No. That's totally fine. I like that rotation coming out from Sonics, but moving over here to ATC now, as they're starting to look at over this Dodge split that happened, they have been able to consolidate, although we still see Dodge a little bit flexing a bit towards the northeast side of Pozo, as ATC now taking shots over here at the arena, or towards the arena, I should say, in the brick. But I want people to be aware of Veritas and the way that them and gas cans are basically creating a wall just in the center for teams to even rotate to the compound below, because we actually see a split from gas cans as well.
We do indeed. It's again, not too much. I mean, other than Sonics, really nobody else really ran into each other as part of this rotation off this hard shift. So looking like everybody's going to get in relatively unscathed except for Houston hard shifts, but again, just with the way this one's played out and how many people actually managed to make it into the south side and then towards the center, again, people have already got the information on this early on. They can relocate, don't really have to risk too much. Looking at Zenith just getting into the backside of Pozo right now, but again, should expect things to stay as they are for the time being. I don't think anybody's really going to bank on a hard crash into a different compound right now.
Yeah, probably not. Zenith, I would say One Eye Open and Duel are really the teams, the outliers on the edge. You have Zenith that's currently fighting right now on the northwest side. You have Mon Hardy with One Eye Open that just came in on the east. They're in a little bit of trouble as they lost to earlier, and then Duel just came in on the south. So Circle's going to pop. It's going to be, again, right on the center. Veritas is loving this. As is Oath. Oath's position is quite strong as well in the circle. They are split, but they can do a lot of work from here.
Well, expect a mad dash off this one, because obviously we've got to take into account that unplayable area. Got to treat it as water, so you got to expect this one's going south. So expect a bloodbath here. Lots of teams need to make it down if they're going to read this circle correctly. There's a little bit of breather room for where it can go, but it has to come away from that high ground to the east side of Pozo. See now, Sonics did lose Shrimsy in transition there. Going to send some shots back over. They got themselves a decent spot on the edge of Monty. Again, depending on where this one does go, this could be a good position in the next circle as well for them. But lots of teams on the west need to come in still, and hard shifts are going to try and move in here. This is when I expect a couple of teams to run into each other.
Oh yeah, ATC now, and Gas Cans looks like they're going to pop off on each other. Oldest going to get shots. Going to find a knock on one. He's not going to be able to finish it. Aguila gets up, and Marcelik now with Norcus up top. Where's the rest of the Gas Cans? Here they come.
Back it up there. Aguila was actually super low there. Honey Badger going to find Sharp Shot with a fantastic 3x spray, but the response actually coming from behind is hard shifts opening up onto this Maluk head peak in that ridge. So Honey Badger got to swivel around now. Now he's going to get knocked from behind. Norcus going to find it there. Hard shifts might actually take that one back. Voxic and Nikos now.
How is he still alive?
I have no idea how he's still alive, but he's actually going to get that one off. Norcus does land the nade though, and the Gas Cans will be the first team eliminated in game one here. ATC and hard shifts combining with the effort to take them down. Again, I mean, I was just about to say they said in, well, Honey Badger said in that little pre-show interview that he was going to try and mix things up early game, and you can see that's a conscious effort to do so.
Yeah, it definitely is. They went for the push. They were obviously a little split. Positioning is so awkward. Nice grenades coming out from Free Me Please and Top Dog from Illusion. That's going to be Hardships going out in 15th. An Illusion, their style has been so interesting to see, especially when they had Adam on the team, and even before that. They've gone from really playing Edge quite well to now I feel like they play Circle really much later than they even used to in the past.
Yeah, again, we've seen that kind of be their demise as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the best scenario in which we see Illusion play is when they're able to just kind of W key the Edge, and you know, not too much pressure. If they have to push in onto a team like we just saw with Hardships, yeah,
right.
Admittedly it's a two-man team holding them out, but when their back's clear and they're able to kind of push in, choose their team fights effectively, that's when we see them do best. No real surprises there. It did actually go as far south as I assumed, but lots of teams obviously already positioned for this one, knowing full well I had to come away from that high ground. So Veritas, ATC, Sonics now in fantastic positions, opposite side of the road. Oath have managed to get themselves a little bit of high ground and still maintaining that split as well. Not too much pressure on the southeast side of the road towards Power Grid.
No, not at all. I mean, you do have SDK and Fabled, but realistically, I mean, it's going to be Oath. It's going to be kind of dictating how that Edge plays out. Unless actually, look at Relo there. Relo's actually sending it in the center of the compound as we now look also over here at Dodge as they're coming in on the western edge. They have Illusion still to deal with as well as ATC and even Veritas. It's going to be a difficult rotation for Dodge unless they go pretty much hard wrap on the south. But, I mean, that area is not clear either. Dodge have a really tough way into the circle here. And I'm curious to see what they're going to do to get in.
Yeah, it's... Again, another one of those scenarios I was just talking about is really choosing your team fight. Right now, again, time not really on their side. And a lot of these teams going to get cut out. There's ATC stand to be the ones to benefit most from this situation. But Dodge, they do actually spot out ATC first. So whether or not they're going to read into this potentially being a split, we'll have to wait and see.
I'm curious to see if they actually, I don't know. I don't think they know about Illusion yet. So obviously, they've scouted some of ATC. They might even see one member from Illusion here. And like you said, think it's a split. So even still, they are running out of time. The blue is coming in, and there's no real action. And Illusion also needs to get in. I mean, shots are going to come out from Dodge and Nox going to come, but the circle's right on their backs, Puck.
Yeah, and actually, Danny G going to fall in immediately after getting that opening there. Finna now going to try something on the backside. Show going to take a little bit of damage here. He's stuck behind the Bronco for the time being. But, I mean, the longer this draws out, the better it is for Illusion because Dodge have the pressure of having to move. And actually, Finna going to find Light Show over on the backside. So just Top God, maybe. I don't know. Let's see if he can become it.
Let's see if it sticks. Adam looking for angles here on the other side. It looks like Top Dog's going to go for a spray. He's not going to find it, and this fight is taking so long. Dodge has actually recovered. Danny G's going to get up, and now Dodge is taking over. Another flush going to come in for Finna. It's just one member left here, and it's Top Dog. It's now or never, Puck.
Indeed. He's going to try and get a little bit of utility down to the bottom of the stairs, but now in a position where Dodge managed to get in front of him, and yeah, I don't think we're going to see the Top God here. He's let the blue pass him. He's allowed Dodge to get in front of him so they can just gatekeep him now. Whether or not he's going to opt to deny at this point, but ATC, you can see how close Dodge are actually getting on the map right now, and that's actually going to open up quicker than I expected here. ATC take a little bit of a peek on. Blue still got a little bit of space to close in, but Dodge look like they got the upper hand initially off this.
Yeah, but Top Dog, look at him. He can actually heal a little bit and do a good amount of damage. He's going to find Finna. Meanwhile, Nox going out all over the place. Lampot going to find another member of Fabled off in the distance, and now Adam's got to turn around and deal with Top Dog.
Yeah, actually, Finna did actually just get flushed out by Top Dog before he fell to the blue, so Dodge do lose one, but up to 5 kills now. That's about the best scenario you're going to want to see in terms of the circle as well, because it's actually bounced all the way back to the northwest. And just about to say it, Veritas, they hear all this fighting on the hilltop. They want a piece of the action straight away.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's got to be the next play for them, right? They need to take control of the northeast, or excuse me, the northwest, or the west in general, so they can rotate forward into the other side of the road, the road ditch, rather. But they got to get rid of Dodge first. And Sonics is waiting for them as well, so Veritas is, well, definitely needs to figure out what their next course of action is. And I think taking care of Dodge first would not be a bad idea here.
Well, again, not overcommitting just yet, but with that circle post in there, they are able to position like this. They do still have control of the compound back down. It's Michael just in the compound, just sending shots way east over towards STK. So straight up 3v3 if Veritas do decide to aggress onto this. And again, they've been chilling in the compound. Obviously, there is some utility in the back pocket for Dodge, but again, it's difficult to find an opening here, whether or not it's going to be a knock or some nade damage coming in. Actually, Reload might find one of SDK running down the hill in the open. There's two of them, actually. Not landed any shots initially, but
those could have potentially been really huge knocks if Reload could have... Yeah, and he's not going to get it. Oh!
That was actually...
There were so many hits back to back. Yes. I thought that was an AR spray. That was ridiculous.
That's all the way down from the red brick as well.
Yeah, that was... I think that was Hwin as well, if I'm not mistaken. Gross. That was disgusting shooting. And now Comets find themselves in a disgusting situation here on the edge with Zenith. 4 up, 4 kills. And not a whole lot of room to work with here as they just have smokes. Oath, luckily for Comets, has been knocked, and so they're a little distracted. And here comes the play from Zenith. I like it. I mean,
you just started flashbang now.
What an absolute chat. As Zenith rolls up now on Duel. The last two members of Duel, Lixie and Penta, are in this shack desperately trying to fight them off. And they're kind of winning this fight.
No way. The molly is perfect.
Oh my God. Is dead. That's it.
Penta literally just farmed them at the front door. But comments are coming up now on the backside. He doesn't even have a second to respond on the Sonics with the third party coming in. Yaxley going to clean that one up. Penta falls as well. Duel out in 8th place. I don't know what just happened at the front door there.
They just dropped the order off, I guess. But that's going to be a nice play coming from Penta and Duel. Unfortunate. I like the idea behind Zenith's play there. They just couldn't get through the door, quite literally. And now there's only 3 people in this current circle. It's going to be Veritas' Michael, and then you have 2 members of STK, as Oath still has the high ground, though.
They do indeed. You see Mime making a mad dash for that dip on the south side of the road. Maybe actually going to go across to the shack as well. I like that play. Get something secured. And it's absolutely dead center as well. He's actually taking a little bit of pressure from Dodge elsewhere, but Veritas did pull back off that push onto Dodge. They've regrouped to the compound now. That gives them a fantastic foothold to obviously prevent Dodge from getting in. We'll have to wait and see what Dodge decide to do, but Comets now able to regain a little bit of pressure down towards the Rumblers. But I mean, Oath are in a fantastic position. They just need to clear a way into this next circle, because I think other than Alo's dip, they're not going to have too many options.
Yeah, they're really not. I mean, the terrain there is fairly unforgiving as well for the teams looking up, which generally having the high ground is the advantage, but not so much the case here. Regardless, I still think Oath can make quite a bit happen, especially if they can put a lot of damage on the teams ahead of them. If they can get rid of Alo, like you said, I think that's a massive win for them to be able to get down there. But right now, it looks like they're just going to farm Comets. Oh. That was everybody farming Comets.
Yes.
It was Oath, a little bit of Rumblers, a little sprinkle Sonics in there. I think SDK got a few shots as well. And as you said, Sonic's currently in one of the best positions. Alo with the potential for a massive play here, Pac.
Yeah, that was Uncivil. I was going to say, actually, Uncivil flanking. You can see on the minimap here, actually taking a little bit of position to help out. Oh no, they're going to send the buggy down there. Oh no, they hit the tree. Alo going to get some damage in initially, but Reload going to find the knock there, and now Uncivil potentially going to try and steal one of these away, but he's got to deal with Pat Caps looking down with that SLR, and it looks like Uncivil's going to lose that 1v1. STK out in 6th place after a quiet start, but they did obviously come in late on the east side.
That was really unfortunate for Alo and Civ, because had they actually came down, Civ was also in the open setting up to help out Alo, so when he got caught in that duel with Pat, I mean, he pretty much just had to hit the shots or sit there and duel, and obviously Pat with the cover was able to get it out. But even still, STK, not the worst start. It's just
No.
It's just game one. We're not going to really read into too much of this, but so far Oath has played this high ground very well.
They have. Again, my next concern is the circle. It's going to give it's going to give them a second ridge. Veritas need to come down off their plateau outside the barn. I don't know how safe it is from the other side of the road, but I think Veritas aren't going to have their ridge to play. So expect to see them making a move pretty sharpish, because they've still got 4 up. So they do have the opportunity to send somebody forward to hold on to something. It looks like D3s might be that man, but no, he's actually just going to pull up on the ridge. They're going to put some pressure in towards Sonics. You can see the way the shack's open isn't great for Sonics.
It's not great. No, it's not great at all. It's rough as well, because that's kind of where Veritas has to go, and I'm pretty sure Sonics knows this, which is why they're peeking so much.
Mime actually going to pull up on the underside of Veritas Ridge. That's pretty an interesting one. Adam's actually going to be a factor in that. He's putting a lot of damage on Michael. Actually going to find Mime with a nade. Long distance there. Adam's now shown his hand, though. His position's been revealed.
And so Oath is actually... Sorry, real quick. I was just saying, Oath has actually used this opportunity to come off that hill puck.
Yeah, they have. They've made massive inroads down. D3's going to land a headshot on the inside there. Michael going to pick up Adam. And McCoy as well. He's shown his hand. He's going to pick up a knock onto Snakers.
And this is an incredibly, I don't really think I need to explain it. It's a very rough circle to play for all of these teams, including Sonics, because they're in the middle. They technically are protected, but they're trapped. They can't get out to really get the shots in that they want. Obviously, they're getting harassed and knocked all over the place. Grenades, mollies. Keenan in his forward position is absolutely massive, and that's going to be it. Sonic's going to go down, and Veritas played that quite well, I think.
Yeah, they did. They are going to get themselves a little bit of cover again. This
little bit of circle control.
But, it does give them control. Obviously, Oath, they have a lot more ground to make up now that Veritas have come down here. And again, ultimately, this gives control of the shack over to Veritas if they want to go over and take that. Just some hard cover, but we already know that door facing out to the west doesn't really help them in terms of pressure and Oath.
It doesn't, and to be fair, just getting across to the shack, if they've really needed to, which they don't, it's really Oath that has to move, but it's going to be difficult because Veritas, as you said, they're in the best position, but the cover there is not phenomenal. They do have vehicles and such. They can. Oh, that was a gross spray.
That was actually disgusting. Jeez,
that was... Say what you want about Snakers, man. That kid is nuts.
Yeah.
That was as laser beam as I've ever seen a 4X spray coming out of anyone, even on an M4. That was disgusting, Snakers.
Lots of utilities still at
Sadly,
disposal for Oath as well. It's unfortunate. Jazz is going to get back on his feet, but we all saw it. Don't worry. We know that's all Snakers cares about anyway. Yeah. He's got the clip.
And this circle is starting to get very busy as it is going to close just there on the center. This is a hell of a way to end game one.
It is indeed. We're going to have the classic head peak battle across the road here. Again, I think Oath have got a lot of ground to make up. Snake is actually making good moves, though. If he can get himself a decent position up towards the shack, this is potentially Oath's opening here. He's going to potentially give his position away, but throws the molly over to the shack just to make sure, or try and clear that out, maybe so they've got one less thing to worry about. But the fact that Snakers has got to that position here, if they can get another knock here, some utility is going to allow them to cross the road. Yeah,
and it's basically who's going to make the first mistake here, because arguably both teams are about the same distance from center. It's obviously going to close very close on that shack, and neither team is necessarily set up. I definitely think Oath has more cover to work with, but Veritas also has the man advantage. They have one more player up. It is a 3-on-4, and here we go. Moves coming out from Pat as the center dot has shown itself. Shocking, because we knew exactly where it was going, but still, I like this play quite a bit from Pat. It's just, when is he going to show... Never mind, he just threw Molly. I thought maybe he'd be a little patient, but even still, this is a devastating position. The way that Oath has this set up now, vehicles coming in, Puck. No knock.
Well, this is the thing now. Obviously, with Pat Caps and Snakers getting a position along the roadside, Keenan now actually making that move creates a big problem for Oath because that gives them closest access to the star. So I was going to say Pat Caps and Snaker's position actually in, really a dominating position to stop Veritas from crossing the road, but Keenan kind of sending it across there and not getting punished for it could be the deciding factor here. Pat Caps, Grozer in hand. He's going to try and hold on to the backside of the rusty truck here and maybe see if anybody's going to... Oh, they're actually going to push off to his side. He finds the first one. Jazz are going to fall now. He opens up again with the Grozer. Doesn't find that second knock, though. He does now. Deep Streets will fall. Now just 2 stand for Veritas. Michael's going to push up close. Oh, my God. Belfast has found Keenan at the shack as well. So Oath could actually turn this around here. Michael going to knock down Pat Cap. So not out of the woods just yet. And a 1v2 now. Snakers and Balefrost stand for Oath and just Michael on his feet for Veritas.
A nades utility coming out. Balefrost, like you said, is a little low, but shots actually on Snakers. He's got to be careful. But he's going to find the spray, and what a hell of an end to game 1. Too passive, and really I think with these roster changes they've actually adopted a much more aggressive play style, and I think Adam probably has something to do with that as well, talented player that he is. And so it's been nice to see Dodge on an upward trajectory, because there was definitely a time, again, before the roster shuffle that I feel like they struggled quite heavily. So it's good to see them there. Obviously, Pac, we saw the hardships. It was a little bit of a heartbreaker with just obviously losing J-Sank and Lobes quite early to STK. Up on the north side of Pozo, but we'll see. It's just the first game.
And that's, I mean, it's an interesting one with hardships, because that's one team I think if they don't get that dominant position that Maluk tries to get them into, once they lose a member, it's like it's a complete uphill battle for them. And some other teams, can recover a lot better from losing somebody in rotation, but I feel like the condition on that for hardships is if they can get that Maluk kind of preference on a compound or some terrain, some high ground, something like that. So it's something that's becoming more and more apparent. With just losing one player, they don't necessarily go into a turtle, but things go downhill very quickly for them. It snowballs very quickly.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, and you brought this up in the pregame show as well, I feel like another team that is very much like that is actually ATC. I think ATC is also a team where if they, they have this plan and they have a vision for what their play is or what they want to do, and generally they do knock it out, but when they do get stifled and they lose 1 or 2 members, you do notice that ATC slows down quite a bit.
You do indeed. A pretty generous playing path here, north to south, pretty much down the center of the map, so everybody's going to have a decent opportunity to get across to where they want to. Maybe not their home, but
sure,
at least get themselves a little bit of space. Circle actually going to pop pretty much dead center up on the water treatment high ground, pretty much. So another, I'd say there's probably one more team inside Circle 1 this time around, but lots of teams down to the south. No real surprises there. Again, a similar scenario with the way this plane's gone. Obviously, it favored slightly to the west, especially with the drop pattern here we've seen from the teams. So going to be interesting to see how teams obviously navigate their way into this circle. There's a couple of options to wrap east, but you're burning a lot of time to get into the circle that a few teams are already going to have first dibs on center.
Yeah, and it's really, I'm just looking at STK as well as Oath as far as their position to really get a free rotation. It's completely free on the east side. There's no one on the northeast side of the map. There's only one team on the north, and that's going to be One Eye Open. So realistically, the cluster that's going to happen here is going to be on the west and the southwest side as we hang out over here with Tactical 8. And they're on the very south end of this map. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an eastern rotation here following the coast from Steezy and these guys.
Well, interestingly enough, I mean, it was Duel getting into it One Eye Open down way on the far southeast side, kind of Puerto Paraiso area. So potentially, we could see another fight deep in the blue here if Tactical 8 decide to go east. Duel are fairly split. You see Lynxie and Wooly heading over to Puerto Paraiso right now. But Illusion over here, they're up in Cobra. Actually, a pretty wide spread. They got one over in Crater Fields, one Cobra. Light shows down to the east of that. Top Dog all the way up on the north side of Oasis.
Yeah. It's all the way up to the north. But I mean, hey, it's not the worst, I guess, up there. And the other important thing about that is, I mean, coming down you actually have quite a lot of vision once you get to the top of that hill, if that's what Top Dog is doing. Obviously, he could have just split looted to make sure that everyone gets enough gear, but...
I'm actually, and again, we can't see it on screen right now, but One Eye Open have actually made a mad dash for that water treatment high ground that I was talking about early on. That's pretty much dead center. And SDK, another one, we said we were going to have our eyes on that. Luke 12's made his way up there now, and now Uncivil and Kurt and Alo, actually, I think, looking to head this direction as well. So if Luke 12's kind of scouted this out, maybe expect STK to fight for this, because this is a very dominant position. We see STK, they do fight for center on circles like this occasionally, but it kind of depends on that early information.
Well, not only that, but this position, water treatment is notoriously difficult to push on foot, because it's once you have a team entrenched here up on the high ground in this compound, which is where we see One Eye Open, it becomes increasingly difficult, especially if it's a strong four-man, to get that team off the hill. And then on top of that, just coming off of that hill is an obstacle in and of itself. And so that is definitely going to be one of the positions. It's going to be highly contested. We'll see if any of the teams actually end up going for it to try to take it from One Eye Open. But as we hop over with Fable, they're also starting to make the trek. And there's really, it looks like there's a lot of cover here, Pac, to play around water treatment, but there really isn't.
No. It's the problem is everything southeast of this position
everything
can see onto the
everything.
hill, so and whilst it's not easy to get a knock at that distance, that constant pressure, if you are in close proximity to another team, even somebody shooting you from 600-700 meters away, it can pull you away from a peak on a ridge, anything like that. So it is pretty difficult. I mean, already seeing two teams kind of prioritize that high ground, you don't often see it. I can actually see them trading shots back and forth. But ATC over here at the Magnet compound, it's another one of STK's favorites, but this one a little bit further to the north, so no surprise we haven't seen them go for it. Veritas kind of backfilling STK. They've got themselves over on the north side of Hacienda here. Looking elsewhere, really, I mean, everybody kind of gravitating towards that water treatment area, and I'm not sure we're going to get too much action with this many teams centering up initially.
The other interesting point to that, actually, Pac, is the fact that if they're not going to set up, this leaves a lot of room. And I'm talking about a lot of room around the center. I'm talking east, especially to the east. There's a lot of room for rotations there. The north is pretty much clean at this point. It's really just kind of the southwest that is the only hang up. So be prepared to see a lot of teams kind of actually get in fairly free if they just scout ahead, because as you said, and as we're seeing, the center is really the only contested part of the circle, which on Miramar is kind of rare. You mostly see teams kind of hanging out on the edge or setting up for whatever the next circle is, especially in the first circle situation. But yeah, we'll have to see. This is kind of setting up to be an interesting game.
Yeah, and Fabled, one of the teams we were talking about, has obviously come up here. One Eye Open still have that compound over in the background. Fabled already forced into the compound. They were previously kind of spread out on foot with vehicles nearby, but you can see now they've pulled back. I don't think they want anything to do with One Eye Open, and
ambitious shots.
Top Dog all the way over on Oasis high ground, just looking over this way. This is what I'm talking about. Is again, it just that constant annoyance, even though it's at such a great distance. It can force you back inside a building. You obviously at that point you're missing out on scouting time and whatnot. But Rumblers, they've made it into the south side. This is over by the power grid. McCoy doing a little bit of scouting, has lost cuts the engine. Sonic's pretty close by, but it looks like they're going to try and make ways down through San Martin Hacienda way. So don't expect them really to pick up on this Rumblers rotation unless there's some shots sent out.
And it looks like there's multiple teams now that are pretty much set up on all these adjacent mountains. And this is, again, what you were talking about, where, yeah, you're probably not going to get to, flush a knock, even if you get one. But it's the constant getting shot at, having to worry about certain angles. It's also possible that, Dodge sends people in like they're doing right now just to try to assault us while they have two members come back. And actually, again, I like this from Dodge. This team is playing so much more aggressive and proactively than they have been at any point in the past.
Yeah, I like this. Saw a little bit of damage go into, I think it was Light Show on the backside of one of the buildings, and
they're leaving.
Yeah, it's forced the regroup out. Again, they are very, very split. Whether or not you want to kind of chuck all your eggs in one basket and double down on a compound like this early on, not really very advisable. But Dodge are going to get themselves control of it. I'm not sure if show is actually still there. I'm not sure if that's just a little bug on the mini-map, but I did see 2 of them pull away in the vehicle. Sonics, meanwhile, they did make it over to Hacienda. They were obviously scouting this way when they were close by to the Rumblers. But again, they're going to kind of, I mean, try and mirror Veritas, I assume.
Yeah.
They're moving this way. Whether or not they hold on to this until they see the next circle, it's a decent spot to leapfrog from at least.
And at the very least, we've seen Sonics do something to teams before where, you know, if they are caught somewhere on the edge, because they do tend to be that kind of central team that you were talking about. Kind of one of the only few ones left if we kind of look at the old meta back a year or even 2 years ago. But they have mirrored teams and basically stalked them to the point where once they get in a fight, they take over their position, they wipe them out, and they wipe the team that they're fighting as well. So look for Sonics to do that as we get our first shift, and it is right on the center of where you and I were saying is awful to play.
Yes, it is. Lots of space here, though. I mean, pretty much if you were to draw a diagonal line across this, nobody is on the east and the north side of this circle. So lots of options here. Oath look like they're going to head straight north up the road there. Veritas looking to regroup. Comet's actually coming up the road as well on the screen here. They've got to be careful because Oath are going to be in a position to pull up on this if they spot this rotation out. Looks like Comets are actually going to hop out and do some scouting. I like that.
Yep. It's always good to see these teams just... Oh, I was just about to praise and let it got hit by the car. Unlucky. But it's always good to see teams employing really good scouting practices, because I think the one thing that frustrates me the most is when you see a team just send it, when they have the ability to scout ahead, when they have the option to, you know, kind of see what's going on around them. But Comet so far has been doing well. The last game was unfortunate. Vegas died immediately, so they didn't really get to do what they wanted to do with 4-man, but we'll see how they do in this game.
Yeah, and Oath actually coming all the way into the south side of Cruz, so they're going to get themselves a really, really good position here. Again, this is taking into account if it does center up, they have really good access out into that terrain that's so difficult to play early on. So keep an eye out for teams looking for kind of these positions that are going to be potentially on the edge of the next circle, and they can clear their way into it. I mean, Oath do have Duel to worry about. They're late wrapping up to the northeast side of this, so gotta be careful nobody backfills them and Cruz. But Sonics dangerously close to SDK right now, and SDK are still split though.
And potentially Oath. I mean, if they try to go further into Cruz, they're going to have to deal with Oath, and on top of that, they have SDK now. So being pinched between SDK and Oath, not really hard pinch, but being in between these two teams, especially if you have to move depending on the circle, is not an ideal situation. But Sonics at the very least has a decent dip for now. However, they have to be careful if the circle does start to come towards them a little more. That dip can be a death trap. We've seen it before.
Yeah, just taking a look really at the map. I don't really see too many people.
It's been quiet.
Is surprising. Yeah, it's surprising to see on that circle shift with how much space there was. Most of these teams have been able to navigate in with next to no pressure, to be honest with you. Zenith making their way in from I think they were coming in from the southwest. They've got themselves into water treatment right now, and again, this could be a really, really awful position to get stuck in. If this one either centers up or goes north, it's going to be very difficult for them to find routes out of this, just because of the high ground that surrounds it. Elsewhere, Illusion, they did relocate all the way. We know Top Dog was up at Oasis. They're driving around in the terrain just looking for something to hold on to at this point. I think they have control of the oil tankers off to the north of this, and obviously the concrete down here. So decent spot now to hold on to and see the next shift. I like this move from Illusion.
It's a good play. They're definitely setting up. Again, they're being proactive, setting themselves up for a good rotation moving forward. I will say, Puck, if this circle shifts hard to the northeast or the east, it's going to... let me just say Phase 3 is going to be an absolute bloodbath, because you have so many teams that really just... And it did. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to laugh. No, I do. I do mean to laugh, actually. I love this.
I mean, after that previous one, there's now 9 teams that aren't in this circle.
Oh, so perfect.
It is.
I couldn't have placed that circle or set it better as it should have. I really... You love to see it if you're us. Hate to see it if you're a player. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, if we were in a studio right now, you would hear the groans as that one popped.
Yeah.
But Duel, I mean, they've walked themselves into a pretty good position now. ATC, you can see they're getting picked apart on the edge, on the north side, of water treatment. You can see they're going to take massive casualties here. Nork is, I think, the last man standing. Patron's actually going to find him. One Eye Open going to absolutely destroy ATC. We'll go out in 16th place. All 4 kill points going over to One Eye Open. So good stuff from them, holding on to this from, again, the first 2 minutes of the game. They rotated up here. So it's paid off for them now. Gives them a little bit of breathing space. They can maybe try and scout their way in to find something, because they're outside the circle. With where this has shifted that far over to the east, they've got massive amounts of ground to cover. They
have a lot of ground to cover. And the issue is there's not that many places where they can safely play or rotate from coming in next. Obviously, Dodge over here is in quite a nice position, especially if they really are going to try to cut anyone off rotating in from the hard north. Obviously, there is a team right next to them in Illusion, but the north is now starting to become very dangerous to rotate in as well. There's pretty much no safe passage into the circle unless the team really wants to hard wrap from the south and come in from the east, I guess. But I mean,
I just saw 6 different teams in the kill feed.
Yeah. This is probably the worst case scenario for everyone that was towards center or towards water treatment. And although a lot of these teams are starting to get uncomfortable, we're seeing quite a lot of neighbors here that are a little too close for comfort, we should say.
Yeah, it is. And again, while this might look good, I mean, Veritas already lost 2 getting into here, but now with Oath, Duel, and Sonics to Wibat and Cruz, they're literally forced to kind of just hold on to what they've got. Regardless of what the circle does, they just need to sit here and pray, really. The good thing is that a lot of people are going to die outside of Cruz.
Yes.
Obviously, assuming this one does center up, there's a lot of people that aren't going to be able to make it into the next one. Balefrost actually going to find 2 knocks there. Hella and Rip going to fall in rotation. Those will put a couple of kill points on the board, and they have a nice little spread actually on the outside over to the west side of Cruz. Pat Caps and Relo holding on to a little bit of an off position from their teammates. Greg Shot now last man standing for Fable, going to have to down behind the Rocky, takes another tag.
And the next circle is about to post, and it's good for Greg. It's actually great for Greg. Not so much everyone on the south. Jeez, look how many teams are on the south, Puck. Zenith, SDK, Comets, Tactical 8, Hardships. I mean, technically you have Sonics holding on the south edge to get into Cruz. I mean, this is an absolute mess.
And the problem is I mean, you're absolutely right there. There are 2 or 3 teams that can gatekeep the south side of this circle. SDK actually making a mad dash across the west side.
It's actually really
one
good
of the
position.
teams. Yeah, this is a good reposition from them, and they were one of the teams that potentially going to hold out. You can see they had the information here. They pulled up right in front of One Eye Open to try and gatekeep them. So very, very proactive stuff from SDK here, looking to pick up these kill points, and that's what we love. Again, this is how SDK play the edge. They repositioned to literally gatekeep a team that they knew were going to be outside of this next circle. So
I was just about to say
stuff.
That's exactly what separates them and makes them arguably the best team in this lobby. I mean, the way that they're able to read the situations, and as you said, proactively make steps so that they can actually capitalize on that. That's what I love so much about SDK, and that's what makes them so daunting to play against. Comets also finally coming into the circle here, or at least towards it. They still have to get through technically Zenith and that SDK held edge.
Perfect.
Oh my goodness.
I think he falls from
that. He's fine.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he does. Delta's actually going to get the knock there, but Vertico, he actually pops up. He's going to find the flush onto Delta now. Monhai trying to get a little bit of damage onto, but the repeat there from Alo going to be perfect. And actually, One Eye Open fall in 15th place. SDK holds strong with that reposition and put a couple more kill points on the board for themselves. And now have a good position, but they're going to get information here because Comets were involved in that fight. They know that another team had line of sight on One Eye Open, and actually Yaxley send it right up towards him. He's pulled up on the backside of the ridge here.
Yeah, if he can get a knock here, potentially putting SDK on the back foot, that'd be quite big. Here comes the rest of the Comets now, as nades are coming in, nicely placed. Doesn't get Yaxley quite low enough, but Halo barely going to survive. That could have even been a tick of a booster there that saved him, because I'm pretty sure he had no life there for a second.
Yeah.
As gas kids, look at the northwest.
Yeah, they're looking to wrap on this as well. And, I mean, this could fall apart for SDK. If this is kind of a synchronized attack from both Connets and gas cans, this could be really, really devastating for them, to be honest with you. They are tucked down behind these vehicles. Kurt kind of in an off angle here, but the information's gone out. Later's going to send a nade in. Not sure if that's going to do any damage. It does do a lot of damage, but no knock, unfortunately. Kurt got the audio cues on Honey Badger here. See if he's going to be aware potentially there's somebody else next to him. Oh my god, Honey Badger didn't spot him.
Nope. And Kurt, appropriately with the trigger discipline, he's actually going to get it. Nice, beautiful knock on a Honey Badger. Can he get a second? Hold this so low. Beautiful. Kurt.
Oh my god, Kurt.
And finally, the Comets are going to start to slow down STK as Alo with a nice trade. And this is still very much working somewhat in STK's favor. I know it was a very roundabout sentence, but they're holding this, or at least the best of their ability, and they're putting a lot of damage onto gas cans as well as Comets.
No, indeed. Alo actually going to send a nade up towards the rock as Kurt gets flushed out there. Voxic now coming down the outside. Nico's actually going to fall to that nade from Alo. Here comes the push. They're going to try and put some more kill points before falling. Uncivil finds Honey Badger with the AK. And now this off angle from Voxic potentially going to do something for them, but the two knocks here is probably going to force Voxic to rethink his approach.
Woohoo! And they went for the push. Can they just get it? Alo, can he find the kill? He finally does, but Civ is going to go down. And you know what? Even if STK goes down there, it took a village. Literally, it took 3 different teams to finally take them down. Comets may have not lost anyone, but they definitely took a lot of damage. There was knocks being traded out coming from SDK. They pretty much wiped the gas cans. That was a almost no-win situation that SD came out with a nice amount of points, so well played to them.
Yeah, like I said, you can see the moment that circle popped, they're like, yeah, okay, put these kill points on the board before we fall if we're going to.
Yep.
Jumping back elsewhere.
Although,
Rumblers.
sorry, did he not? Oh, it's the smoke.
He does. He finds the one onto Danny initially. One still in the shack. Finna going to try and get something done here, but Lot's actually going to find Finna. Not sure where the teammates are. Adam's actually going to come up behind Waldo there, so a big old flank coming out from Adam. Rumbler's going to lose one in the process.
I'm not quite sure if Dodge wasn't ready for that or if that was just a messy split, but this was a very disorganized fight coming out from Rumblers and Dodge.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I like Adam's move as soon as the pressure came onto the shack. Maybe a little bit too late, but I feel like this could have been a clean team fight for Rumblers. It's unfortunate they're going to lose Waldo as part of that. They are going to hop in the vehicles now, going to try and find their way into the circle or something to play here. Loss not in just yet.
That's too bad, too, because the spot he had was actually not bad. As we now go up to the northwest here, it's going to be Illusion and Comet still fighting it out. As both teams are technically still in, it's just a battle for who controls the zone. Shot's going to come out from Free Me Please. Going to knock Yaxley here. As it's just down to Vegas and Leda now. Oh!
Yeah, that's it. Coming over the top there. Artifact's going to find Vegas, and let's find the second as well. Comets will fall in 11th place. So Illusion holding strong on the north side here. That gives them absolutely tons of space over here
as well.
Yeah, really good stuff from them. And again, I like the reposition from them. Again, a little bit of circle luck, but they've absolutely put it to good use in putting some kill points on the board early on here. 8 teams still up, so still an opportunity to capitalize from this and put more on.
I just want to point out that Greg's still there. he's just chilling there at the rock with his Morado as well. And Circle's still good from. The problem is Illusion is probably going to be the team that's going to start heading over towards him. Yeah. You obviously have Oath and Zenith right next to him. And it's just, looking at the center, it's just McCoy. And I don't even really know if there's anything there for him to play other than the position he has. The other thing of interesting note is that if this circle pushes out the rest of Cruise, that means Sonics, TAC 8, and Duel are going to have to start pushing towards the center.
Yeah, it would indeed. And I guess that's the Oath's reposition. Also, it might look they haven't got the best position right now. I mean, ultimately, it will grant them the most points. They haven't got to mess about with an inner city fight with 2 other teams. Taking the compound here gives them best vision over the terrain. Actually, Tactical 8 going to get into the backside of Duel's position here. You can see the 4-man push coming out.
Nice
we
molly,
are
though.
on the ground floor. Yeah, nice molly to cut off that option by a little bit of time upstairs. And the rest of them, actually, Cherry going to open up onto the backside here. Lush going to fall. Well, Steezy and Zelot not actually going to have a response just yet, but some utility coming out on the backside here could be the demise for Take.
And look at this play from Cherry. I love how aggressive he is. He's really forcing... Wow, he was really forcing the situation, and Duel just absolutely, it was really just Cherry with nice support coming in from the rest of his team that just opened that fight and finished it. Beautifully played from Duel. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, good stuff. And Lynxie actually swiveling straight back around, gets a knock onto Top Dog as well. You see they have their own problems here, and it's actually Gregshaw going to get the last one there onto Freemy. Please, going to steal one away. Illusion fall in 7th place, but not before putting some much needed kill points on the board. Poonage now. Last man standing for Zenith. The rest of his team fell on the west side, I think, to a lot of pressure from Oath. But Poonage hasn't got many options now to get into this next one.
Well, the beautiful thing about this for Oath as well is they've pretty much crippled all the teams, or all the teams that came in at them were already crippled if it wasn't them doing the damage. And so the only thing they really have to deal with on the west side here is just solos. It's Greg shot, you have Poon, McCoy kind of off to the side there, or I should off to the center. And the terrain for Oath to move up is decent. So it's not going to be the worst transition for them into the circle, but Sonic still very much poses a problem for them.
Do indeed. Poon's actually going to get himself control of a Bronco and try and just send it and get somewhere. He's actually going to get to the backside of the rock.
Nope.
And
Snaker's not going to let that happen.
Yeah, Snaker's landed the shot. And now, obviously, Greg's shot's position given away. I expect Oath to try and clear him out here. Reload's actually sent it into the circle now. Duel looking to pressure into the center of this one. Where's it going to go to? It's going to pretty much pull back to them, actually.
This is huge for
Duel. It really is, and to be honest with you now, I mean, I take back what I said about Oath's position, granting them some kill points, because the circle shifting away from them here is going to go complete opposite. I mean, it's going to be a miracle if they can clutch this one out the same as game 1, but down to 4 teams already, only just entering phase 7.
Actually, if they can take over that ridge that McCoy is on, that would be massive. The problem is I'm not sure, to be completely honest. I think Sonics has a decent line of sight on that.
Well, it gets difficult. You have to play the north side of it for Sonics not to be able to punish you. So if Oath do wrap round to the north side here, yes, they will get control of a very strong position, and ultimately, you know, the closest to the center, you'd argue.
This is such a fun circle to watch, though.
Oh, did he just realize actually jumps? But I think he's checking the back of the crate. It looked like he spotted McCoy there, but okay. Yeah, Lynxie peeking with a bolt, and he just gets tapped.
He wasn't even peeking that long. Man just was trying to see what was going on. Beautiful shots. Oath, I gotta say, Oath is on fire right now. Yeah, and McCoy is most likely not long for this world. We'll see, but if I was a betting man, I'd probably put my money on Oath as here they come. And really, it's about Sonics and Duel now and what's their play, because Oath has an overwhelming amount of control now if it shifts just slightly to the west.
Yeah, they're going to deal with McCoy very, very quickly now. 5 kills, and you can see this is the area we're talking about. This is that ridge, and it's very difficult for Sonics to get out and pressure this effectively. Duel, yes, they have control of, you know, the buildings furthest into the circle, but I mean, look what's outside it. It's just flat terrain. It's going to be very easy for Oath to split along that ridge, just take head peaks, and it's going to be very difficult for Duel to stop them from doing that.
And the other issue too is Duel really can't get the elevation they want going onto the roof of that brick, because they have to worry about Sonics, on top of the fact that Oath also could potentially win some duels that way. But you do see Lynxie just trying to get some information to figure out exactly what the next play is going to be for Duel. They're just going to hang out. It's really, I think the onus at this point is really on Sonics. What is their play?
I agree. Relo's actually gone way out west of the circle here to try and find maybe a little ridge to play. He's back in the vehicle now. He's going to try and regroup, but yeah, going to be interesting to see how Duel approach this one, whether or not they're going to want to deal with Sonics proactively. They haven't been dealt with before they get forced into a scrappy fight. Because as soon as that fight breaks out between Duel and Sonics, you know Oath are going to peak up. They're going to look to third party, capitalize on the chaos.
And so far, I mean, it's really hard to fault any of the decision making that Oath has made, not only in this game here, but also the first game. They're really on top of, I feel like, scouting out and planning where they really want to play from, and they have executed that amazingly. As here comes Sonics now, finally making the push. They're technically in, but I mean, this is it. This is the final phase. We know exactly where that center is going to be, and it's going to be on the other side of the hill that Oath is on, which means that realistically, Oath doesn't have to do anything.
No, it isn't. And just, I mean, I've got my ruler out on the map right now and looking at it. Duel and Sonics have to come out before Oath have to show anything on that ridge. So
and they have complete control of it too, Puck. They have complete control.
They do. What I want to see now is Sonics or Duel be proactive here, because I mean, it's going to be mutually assured destruction. Sonics 6 kills on the board. I think Duel have 5, so there isn't necessarily any pressure to put something up here towards the end game. I think both teams are probably going to be happy going out with the kills they have. If they can outlive the other, great. But when you make the decision to just play to outlive another team, you kind of just surrender in my eyes.
Well, especially in the circle, because nothing was going to change really, and so it's just who's going to make the first move, and it looks like it is going to be Sonics. Could
Sonics not wrap round to that, like the south side of the ridge there? They've got utility. They could smoke off and take a fight to push north along that ridge onto Oath. The utility is going to be deadly, but looks like they're going to opt to play just the underside of the higher ridge.
Either way, the issue is that they're so pinched right now. They can't really commit to anything on the west because of Oath, and if they do want to make the play, which I agree is probably their only choice, I mean, they're still going to have to deal with the fact that there's elevation on the side of Duel, and they can just either get utility through those smokes or try to get some sprays. But it looks like Sonics is actually starting to posture towards Oath now.
Yeah, here you go. Here comes the push. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Come down, take control of the ridge here, push north towards them. If they've got utility here, it could be deadly for Oath. Oath have actually stacked up 4 now. They're going to try and defend this push. But here comes the push coming out from Sonics. Now they're forcing it back. Tickleton actually going to find Pack Caps on the way in with a nade here. Sending a bit more utility back their way. And Duel haven't moved yet. They're not reacting off of this action over on the west side of the circle. Sonics, they need to crest the hill now. They need to get control of space. That molly is fantastic. It's going to flush out Pack Caps, but no other damage going on. Belfast actually going to take control of the top side of the ridge here. This is really good stuff from Sonics.
Yeah, it is. And now they're also shifting focus over to Duel because they know that they've heard all these nades, the shooting. Duel obviously has to move, and this is an absolutely chaotic ending to this game. This is amazing. It's 3 full squads. Excuse me, Oath now down to 1, down 1. But 2 knocks are going to come out, and that's it. Oath is gone. Oath is absolutely gone. Sonics wrapping around now towards the top of the ridge to fight Duel.
They're taking so much blue damage though, and actually H-Win, and they both stepped into the molly. Oh my god. They both stepped into the molly.
Incredibly well. They were scouting, they were holding out their edge, and the only question I think we were asking is what was potentially stopping Oath from having 2 people on the south side of that edge to stop that push from Sonics, or at least try to stifle it a little sooner.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that, because I was kind of thinking about it where they stacked up on that kind of second ridge halfway up.
Yeah,
they allowed Sonics entry into that. And yes, you could argue maybe sending 2 down to the far south side and stopping Sonics ever getting out of that building is kind of risky, but I mean, that's one of the few situations in PUBG where you don't want to be the team holding on to something. You want to be the team aggressing that. You want to be the team that's able to push into that next circle. And I think ultimately, the timing was a huge factor there. The fact that Duel didn't get much damage onto Sonics crossing away from that building is definitely a consideration to make. But Miramar in the books now. I'm sure we can talk about that another time. Right now, plane stretching pretty much on the northern side of the map, but west to east here. So lots of the south going to be pretty tricky for some of these teams to get to. But I don't see too many switch ups here, and definitely no overlaps. A lot of teams obviously pulling south down to this. Illusion going to be the only ones going north central on this towards 70. Yeah, nothing really standing out to me, right?
Nope.
Well, maybe Oath and Zenith over on the east side there, but whether or not they're going to fight over vehicles is another matter.
I mean, you actually might have, what is this, Duel and I think One Eye Open contesting vehicles here. We'll see if anything comes of that, but yeah, I mean, fairly decent plane. Like you said, the south was cut off quite a bit, but we'll have to see it. Oh, that's an interesting circle for this. Another one, Park, where we only have a handful of teams in the initial pop, and this one is, well, we see this one all the time. It's a multi-power circle from what it seems. Or at least...
Yes. Well, initially.
These just usually go there. That's why I said that.
But again, you know, draw a line across this one. There's nobody down to the south side. And again, you can cut a lot of this circle out with the water and Sosnovka. I think it's highly unlikely that it will go there. Crazier things have happened, but they really have. I'm just seeing, you know, Kickstarter did manage to get down to the barn series.
Is Snakers with it?
Is Snakers actually there, or is that...
Yeah, I can't tell.
I
don't think Snakers is there. Yeah, he's not there.
Okay, good. I was going to say, because Kickstarter's got to be careful if Snake is stalking you outside your barn. Or the hangar, sorry.
And this is a good split for Zenith. Sorry, I was just going to talk about I mean, it's a nice little split for them. This kind of reminds me of the... wow, Snakers is all over the place. This reminds me of the old United split, I think. There's something similar to this.
Yeah, it does that. Yeah, all the old Knights.
Or Knights, yeah. You could also
Knights were the first ones to really employ that split along the prison road, but definitely United in NA. And again, circles like this, if it does pull towards prison, obviously having, I mean, especially now with the changes in Erangel 2.0, there's a lot more viable space there to play.
Yes.
Especially in the early and mid game, if you're looking to pressure those rotations coming through, because it is pretty much one road through the circle there that kind of divides it north and south, but lots of space. Again, nobody up at Lumberyard just yet, so that's definitely a consideration to make for the mid game. Potentially some of these teams that are coming in from the outside, it's going to be very difficult to obviously center up on this. This is one of those circles we talk about where, you know, if you're not in circle 1 and circle 2 pulls towards Milta Power, we always see that massive rotation of like 10 teams just bombing it in vehicles.
And it always culminates on that massive fight with people running down, getting picked off from Lumber going into like Monkey. You know what I mean? It's always that hill, and we see it every single time. And I'm gonna be honest. I mean, as a player, I hated fighting anywhere near or on Lumber, especially the yellows. It's not a fun place, in my opinion, at least. I hated fighting there. I think it's very difficult. You have multiple teams that have angles on that, and you can really kind of get trapped where you don't want to. And STK comfortably, you know, looting South George. And it's interesting, Puck, real quick, to talk about actually the history of where these guys have looted. I mean, all the way back to when they were a different pair in Dignitas, they looted in Sev, and they've looted Yaz, and, you know, now they're looting here in South George.
It is. It's and again, it's nice to see a team that has kind of variance. They drop Hacienda fairly central on Miramar, but again, historically, they were, like you said, Yaz, 70, South George. It's rare they ever get kind of good access to Circle 1s. Especially with, I don't know the numbers, but with how many southern circles we see on Erangel, time and time again, it's just all the time. So that's one thing that, you know, doesn't get talked about too much, is actually where they can switch up between that kind of well thought out rotation game and on Miramar, that early kind of dash and get their preferred spots. Erangel is where we see them much more often kind of do that sweeping edge. And again, you know, last game of PCS1, what do? They didn't get any circles, but they kept just pushing down Lumberyard Hill, and they were just walking
team
through
after
teams.
team. Yeah. And that's literally why they won, is because they just continued to push where they had to push. And that's also really impressive to oh, shots coming out for Huyn there. He's going to get tagged a couple times from all the way across the pond, it seems. But just real quickly back on STK, it's impressive that the fact that they don't get that many circles, because most of them have been south, or not most, but a good portion of them have been south, and they yet to still find that consistency, or they do find the consistency. That's what's so impressive with those guys.
Indeed, it's actually Veritas and Fabled getting into it on
Fabled is in a lot of trouble.
They're in a lot of trouble. Yep, there are 2 more knocks go down. Rip's already fallen. Hella Sticking a first aid kit on the backside of the tree, but
yeah, and this
already somebody out of the wizard. Yeah, already somebody out of the wizard they're gonna fall. Yeah.
Hella is not long for this game. Sadly, I think that's gonna be a trip right back to the lobby. Man, Fable just get absolutely decimated. I mean, this is why it's called Death Road. This Shack Wizard combo with just this entire dirt road is notorious for teams going out early or just getting in fights that aren't beneficial in the beginning of the games. I mean, that place, Buck.
I mean, it's always, again, that's a really good position for a team to kind of sweep along that. You can spread very, very thin because, come towards the mid game, nobody wants to be rotating across that. And again, if the circle becomes a factor, if Michael hits one of these shots, by the way,
I honestly, I was listening to you, but I was really focused on Ayla's gonna crack Marcelik somewhere off in the world.
Well, this is something I was just looking at, and STK actually managed to get to Cube there to try and stop ATC rotation, and then funnily enough, they've still ended up running into each other on the northwest side of the circle, over towards Volcano. It's always so good. We talked about this in the pre-show with Cameron and Poro, but the SDK have literally been stalking ATC's rotations, and again now in kill feed we can see that the fact that they're trading blows back and forth. There's actually ATC that's going to get 2 knocks onto SDK here. Kurt and Uncivil full. Luke 12 out on the side of Volcano Hill can't do too much to stop the flushes coming through. ATC might have the upper hand on this one initially.
But Luke can definitely turn this around at the very least. Sure, SDK is going to lose at least 2 members, but
he's so hurt as well.
Yeah, and he's got to leave Civ as well. That knock is going to mean that it's just Ayla really left to fend for himself, and Ayla's actually out of there. He's not even there anymore. So SDK will actually lose very rare to ATC in one of the fights. It's usually SDK that does the bullying onto ATC, but maybe they've had enough.
Again, maybe a bit overzealous there, pushing onto the flat top, but again, it's just... Again, this is like STK playing mind games. It's like the ATC have constantly got that thought in the back of their mind. It's like, where are they going to camp us this game? Where are they going to set up? Can we rotate into the north side? And towards the end of the group stages, we saw them try and switch it up completely and just avoid them. Drop on the other side of the map to them, just completely remove that variable from their gameplay.
I mean, and that's the crazy type of pressure that STK can also employ on you. And this time around, though, it does seem like ATC has, this is obviously just one fight in a very decent sample size of STK coming out on top. We'll see if ATC can turn this around. Meanwhile, we are with Comets now, set up, quite nicely here in the south there on the bridge. But that shift is...
The circle is so bad, the overlay is actually covering it. It's gone all the way over to the east side of prison here. And Zenith's position looking really, really good here. It's going to have fantastic access to this to come north.
Yep.
But look at all the teams on the south side, and look what's in the way of them getting towards the circle. You've got the north side of Milta, you've got Milta Highway, you've got Lumberyard, which is a big hill. Again, very difficult to traverse in vehicles and to get up safely. Luckily, not too many teams looking to gatekeep on the side there. Duel and Hardshifts making their way up nice and early, and actually Sonics and Veritas going to run into each other just west of this position of what we're looking at right now. And then on top of that, you got One Eye Open, hold on to shelter, so things could fall apart for Sonics very quickly here.
So much going on here on the west side of the map. There's 3 teams tangled up, potentially even 4. Sonics, it's going to be Tig firing away. He's going to actually not connect too much there, and he's got to be careful getting shot from his right window. This is actually a really nice position from One Eye Open, but it's still Sonics with the initial knock.
Yeah, Delta not opting to come up and take the fight on the staircase in here. H-Win super tagged up. Mime going to find that flush after the underhand nade from Tig. That's a little cheeky one from him. Rolled over the top there. Winlow as well. On a little bit. Actually, he's going to get taken out. Shrimsy going to find that knock as well. So, One Eye Open losing. Well, Sonic's completely flipping this one on his head, to be honest with you. They were the ones pulling into this mess.
Yeah, they were. And they cleaned it up. At least 2 of the members of One Eye Open are going to go down. And now we see Dodge actually heading over towards Oath, kind of backfilling in what we saw Sonics do in the last game. As I believe they were stalking Veritas over towards Hacienda, but we've seen Oath play from here before. We've actually seen Oath not only play from here before, but find quite a bit of success in picking up a good amount of kills when the circle has come down south into Milta Power. It's not quite there yet, but I do like that Pat and Oath are still very much utilizing the positions that they're strong from, and yeah, they're going to hold it down there. I'm not sure if they know Dodge is there. We'll see.
And interestingly enough, I was just looking at Zenith. Have obviously got a split, obviously out to the east of Prison here, and then 2 players playing the east side rocks of Prison. And so they're actually going to send Kickstart over to play in the open terrain, and Puna's to hold down the compound potentially. But interesting to see nobody really looking to pressure the south side of Prison. Again, 2 teams can coexist there.
Yeah.
But I guess people being a bit cautious about this rotation into Circle 2 just because of the nature of that shift.
Yeah, and that shift put a lot of teams much closer than they wanted to be to each other. And the issue is some of these teams are aware of the neighbors that they have. There's just not a lot they can do about it unless they want to go for a full-scale push. And as we see TAC 8 slowly getting closer and closer to hard shifts, you gotta wonder if the split may actually come back to hurt them, especially if they lose Maluk and Lobes here. Zealot, this is a very dangerous push. Yeah, he backs off. He realizes he's completely open to Duel, and there's another shift. It's going to be dead on Prison Rocks, as well as the compound that we see Zenith in. And they have an interesting little 2-2 split. I like this a lot. The problem is because of how popular those compounds are and sometimes how desperate guys will be, they may get crashed and lose one of those duels. We'll have to see.
Yeah, Rumblers got themselves a decent spot on the north side of Prison Road. And meanwhile here, TAC 8, looks like Zealot's actually spotted out where the hard shifts of, yeah, there you go, the shot's getting sent over, and one shot going to go first. Chubba actually landed a headshot there. The nade comes down, not going to follow up on that, but TAC 8 now are very split. They don't want to take too much pressure before their teammates can come and back them up. J-Sank actually going to find Steezy with a nade there, and that's going to be the push from hard shifts.
Yep, beautiful stuff. Immediately putting on the pressure. It's going to be a flush. They know Zealot is somewhere around here. They're not sure where the rest of the members are, but they are going to hunt him. See if they can get this frag as well as clean this up. This would be huge because Duel is also starting to hear these shots. As far as them pushing, I'm not quite sure. I don't even really think that's a great push, but if they can put some pressure on these 2 teams, that would be beneficial to them, as Hard Shifts is actually pulling off here. And I'm not exactly hating this coming from them either, because this edge is about to get pretty busy.
Oh my god. Cherry just landed like 9 shots in a row with the mini.
Consecutively. It was like a combo.
And all the while, actually, you can see just on the minimap there, Sonics have heard this going on. H-Win and Mime were scouting up here on foot, and you know, we've got Trimsy and Tiggleton coming up as well now, and they're going to open up onto the hard shifts, put some pressure on over on this side. So again, heads up play from Sonics, being proactive here. They do have a little bit of space to do so in this circle.
He's going to get the jump, and he's going to get that knock. Beautiful stuff. He's going to get a headshot for return, but that all but guarantees Maluk's possible demise here. Is the way that, as you said, the proactivity from Sonics, the way that they're spreading out and really starting to try to take control as well. I mean, this is the same Sonics we saw much of in the last grand finals. Oh!
Okay, Shrimsy. Okay, dude.
Okay. I guess we're just doing that now. So he's just going to get 2 disgusting knocks, and he's going to be able to possibly finish them off. Chubba wants no part of that.
Nope. Chubba's out.
Chubba, it's like, I've seen enough, guys. I'm out of here.
I mean, the problem is if Duel are able to spot him coming, it looks like he's going to make it into the edge of Lumberyard. But now, again, Sonics are the ones pushing up here. They heard this fight between the hard shifts and TAC 8, so they know that there's another team to worry about close buying. Let's see. TAC 8 have wrapped round, thank you, Observer. Just as I was going to mention it, wrapped back round to the south side here. And actually, I think Sonics have spotted that out. I like the movement from TAC 8, trying to come from a different angle, maybe that Sonics weren't expecting, get behind them. But now with that circle going, Sonics are able to gatekeep them. And still nobody playing the south side of Prison.
No one is playing the south side of Prison, and also it's Rumblers that have a really nice position here, as there's quite a bit to play there where there wasn't before. However, if you look at the rest of the circle, I mean, there's a lot of open terrain here that these teams are going to have to navigate without a lot of cover.
It is indeed. I mean, looking at it, everything over to the northwest side of this circle is open terrain.
It's just
I mean,
dead space.
Yeah, Alamo is the hard edge right now. On the north side, nothing really for Illusion to play into. STK have control of the yellows down there, but there's so few options at this point. The compound over on the east side probably going to get taken by gas cans, but hold that thought for the time being. Comet's actually pushing uphill towards Lumbee here. Duel have stacked over to the east side. They're relatively well positioned to deal with this, but meanwhile, Dodge actually on the minimap. Keep your eye on that. They are trailing the blue right now. They might be able to actually sandwich Comets if this fight goes off at the wrong time. Woolie's actually going to hop in. Penta finds the headshot. You're actually going to get shut down on the push.
And that's actually huge from Penta. Not only does that save a member of Duel, but it also ruins a surprise attack coming out from Comets, and now it's Dodge getting involved on the backside of it. Yeah, that...
Oh, I just went too far.
It looked good. No, it looked good. It looked good.
It did look good, but Later's going to get picked off here. Yeah, Finna finds a perfect angle here. Comets, like I said, just awful timing for them. Monty, the last man standing for them now, and Duel stand to pick up all of these kill points if this one doesn't conclude itself too quickly. The blue moving in here going to force these players closer and closer towards Duel.
And you almost want to ask why Duel actually stayed so long. I mean, before this circle shifted, they had the opportunity to scout ahead, but they're going to get out. They're going to get some kills. It worked out for them in the end, and now it's just Monty chasing two members, or the final members of Dodge, to see if he can salvage this at all for Comets. This has not been a good start of the day for them so far.
And weirdly enough, Duel actually, I mean, Zenith has spread across to the south side. They're actually going to pull it. Oh, no. Oh, you hate to see it.
That's what I was talking about. They had time to scout ahead and see what was on Prison Rocks or around it before that fight broke out initially, and having to rotate without any information as Blue came in was going to be Duel's downfall. And so Zenith is going to pick up some nice kills there, and it's still Comets Monty chasing Finna and Lamp.
Yeah, they're actually downhill from him now, so Monty's going to have pretty good vision on where they're going to. Oath. I mean, they have a really good spread along the edge of the circle here. Finn is actually going to take shots on the way in here. So this actually gives Monty an opportunity to come back over slightly west. Balefrost's actually going to find Finna through the smoke there. So one man standing now for Dodge and his Lampalot. He's getting dangerously close to Snakers, actually. I don't know, he's going to be able to find an entry here.
I also really actually just want to talk about this setup coming out of Oath. I mean, they've pretty much controlled any team that tries to come in on the south as well as
the timing. The Snake has actually spotted him. Oh my god.
Oh!
Lamp still won it though. Oh no, Snake is a little bit aggressive with that peek there and potentially going to lose his life for it. Lampalot's actually going to fall to the blue, but the nade does flush out Snakers.
Honestly, I just thought Snakers was going to laser him, but Lamp with a really nice little turn there is going to turn things around. Yeah, with the AK, and just like that, Oath is down to 3 players, and this circle actually just got really, really, really rough. It shifted all the way north, and just on the center is the Rumblers. And this is where this is going to be insanely difficult for most of these teams to get off of Prison Rocks, especially because they're going to be running into each other. You have Oath most likely going to run into Zenith unless they do a hard wrap to the west. You have Sonics about to fight ATC. In fact, I think that fight is going on right now, and it's going to be Sonics getting the hard end of that one.
Yeah, Veritas with a say in that one does get a damage on the way in here, but Shrimsy now going to try and aggress his way onto the Wizard Tower. The molly is perfect. Jazza actually finds that knock, and some damage coming onto the upstairs there. Knock has got to fall away from that sharp shot. Ground floor, throws a nade out. Not sure if Tiggleton's going to be in a position to help him out with this, but Shrimsy has made all the way up onto the edge of the Wizard Tower. See what he can get done here. Goes for the peak sharp shot. Going to win that one. Shrimsy getting flushed out immediately. Now Tiggleton, last man standing for Sonic. 7 kills on the board. Not the end of the world if they go out right now, because obviously they haven't really got to worry about the placement points too much if your worst game is putting 7 points up.
That was a nice little angle. Actually, Sharp Shot had just was an off little peek, but Tig's still alive. He can potentially at least get another knock. I mean, his only play is to push this tower, and that's
no, don't get a second.
He's holding. He can see it. That's a headshot, Dorcas. Tig's going to go in. Does he have utility? He doesn't. There's nothing left.
Dude, this is why you can never count Sonics out. If any of them are still up, even as a solo, they can still do damage. Tiggleton absolutely proving that right now. He's going to try and creep up, maybe just confirm this final kill. Again, 8 points, not a bad game, especially if this is the hand you dealt. Sharpshot's actually going to call out, and Dietrich's going to steal that one away. So, Norcus.
Tig is actually in the best position here to hold out Norcus. And Norcus he gets sniped.
Oh my god. If Tiggleton makes it into this is...
No.
Okay, good. Good.
Good. And Veritas, the shots that came out, Dietrich and the rest of Veritas were...
Sorry, Veritas have got 11 kills.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
I mean, they've been just lighting up the kill feed as we've been looking at these fights left and right, and part of that was just cleaning up that fight between Sonics.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's been a fantastic opportunity for them to obviously clear out the northwest side of this circle. Now, I mean, they do have an edge to play from. Some of these teams are going to struggle to get away from prison. I'm talking about Zenith and Gascans. You can see the situation here. Shimboy down in the armpit of prison. That's the rock that goes right underneath itself. You can get all the way inside that, and Gascans obviously holding on to the high ground. So don't expect them to be really aggressing onto each other just yet. Veritas still in the kill feed. Top Dog going to fall from distance. Dietrich's confirming Michael's kill out. And, I mean, the rest of Illusion, you've got to say, face the same fate.
And SDK is just... It's been down to Alo and Luke ever since that fight we saw in Volcano between ATC and themselves. And Rumblers, meanwhile, have been sitting here this entire time. They got an early position here, which was decent for a rotation if they needed to, but they haven't had to move. As Alo's going to go for the spray. Can he get two? He almost gets Los. He's going to find one. And that's it. SDK is now, they're known. They've been found. And so what is the play?
Oh, my
Michael
God.
just, okay. All right.
Well, this is a big game for Veritas. I mean, they are racking up the kills, building momentum as well. This is fantastic stuff from them. This isn't really the Veritas we saw in the group stages. So coming out with some fire in day one here. And they're not done just yet. You can see Michael's going to flex all the way out here. And I think they're going to try and take active angles onto Rumblers here. The more they can spread in this circle, once they haven't got anybody pressuring them, the better.
Yeah, and I really like Michael's play here, to be completely honest. That off angle that you're talking about is going to be very instrumental in potentially taking Rumblers down if they're going to get an opening at all. The real question is I'm sure Rumbler knows about Michael being here. At least it's possible they heard the vehicle, but they also have SDK to deal with, so that's going to kind of be a lingering issue for them as we look at, gas cans basically just doing what they can to get as much damage until they have to either get off this hill or they get wiped out. Zenith,
please.
I mean,
please.
That could be a really nice nade.
Actually did damage.
Yeah. I mean, this is the issue when you do put yourself into prison, you don't really have a way out. There's no way out for Zenith unless they fight out. And I mean, look at the angles that Gascan is starting to get on them. It's going to be very difficult for them to make any moves. I mean, even with Rumblers and Veritas potentially looking at them. And that's all but a death sentence for Zenith. And Rumblers still cruising in the middle of the circle, but they do still have STK looming over them, as well as that off angle from Michael. We'll see if they use that.
This is good. Actually here, Oldler's going to get picked off by Roth, and Veritas actually looking to pressure in as well here. But now, again, expect gas cans to just hold out Zenith here. Now that they've drawn blood from the gas cans, I don't think they're going to let them get into this next circle, Godspeed.
No, and not only that, gas cans know that they don't really have anything to play, so getting these 2 kills as well as eliminating a team and guaranteeing themselves 4th and more points is I definitely think it's the intelligent thing to do here, and that's what gas cans are doing. Sure, you could argue they could be a little more proactive and looking ahead, but there's nothing for them to play there, Pac.
No, again, damage control, get these points before you fall.
Yep.
Similar situation to what we saw with STK in the previous game now, and Nico's going to potentially find the head there of one, but Roth actually going to pick off Voxic here, and it's Keenan that trades that one out. Finally, Zenith will fall, but they've made it costly for gas cans. Again, not too many options, but
even still
didn't look good.
Yeah. Having one knocked and then having one knocked and flushed is not exactly the play, as Keenan is just going to auto that mini. He's going to find the knock on a Honey Badger. Gas cans just basically point fodder for Veritas. 15
Keenan.
Kills, about to be 16. Thank you, Keenan.
Hopefully about to be 16.
And it looks like he's going to get the nade onto Honey Badger as Nikos is going to start coming down. That information, I'm sure, is being relayed to Keenan as he's going to try to get this other kill here. But what's...
I mean, just a matter of time for Nikos, to be honest with you. Veritas investing an awful lot, though, to pick these up.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to see them tunnel too much. Not that they have anything to play into, but all the while, I mean, look for a ridge, look for a tree, look for something to pin a vehicle against. There's a crate inside. Keenan will find that final one. Veritas up to 18 kills now.
It's disgusting.
Just fantastic stuff from them. Again, they do have the opportunity to come in and take control of the center. If they still have those vehicles, build a fort around that crate. There's obviously something inside to play from. And the longer SDK stay alive here, the longer it keeps Rumblers occupied.
Yeah, it does. Luckily for the Rumblers, the circle did kind of push out SDK a little bit, but Veritas is making their move. I'm sure that's what you were alluding to. And Rumblers, I mean, I don't know if the correct play was them to potentially try to get rid of SDK sooner, but now they're in a situation where they're pinched.
Yeah, I mean, they have to wait for SDK to push them. They're not going to have the opportunity to be the aggressors in that fight because of Veritas' position. Michael's still a nuisance on the outside of the circle here. This is textbook stuff from Veritas. 7 kills for Dietrich, 3 for Michael, 5 for Keenan, 3 for Jazza, and ultimately looking to break 20 here in game 3.
And they very well may. I mean, you were talking about Dietrich quite a bit in the pre-show, and I really do think that he was one of the players to watch. And I think fitting on this roster now that they've had a little bit of time together, I mean, it's very clear that Veritas is here to play. And they have so much control over the circle. Nice headshot from Alo. He's going to actually find it onto Los. As Waldini
He's looking for the second as well.
Jazza, though, going to stop him. Going to get a little bit of a headshot onto him as well. I mean, the fact that SDK is still alive here after all this time, especially with Rumblers knowing where they were, is it's crazy. Luke's going to go down to a nice spray by McCoy, and it's just Alo now.
Look at that, though. As soon as that knock comes out, you can see Veritas. Look how active they are.
I love it.
Looking for any sort of entry onto this. Unfortunately, I mean, not really the easiest of pushes, and Lost staying as far over on the west as he is stops them pushing in the open terrain. Alo, last man for SDK, 3 of Rumblers, and then all 4 of Veritas here. Phase 8 closing in towards the start as we speak. Veritas, I mean, they just got to play time on this, but I know full well they want to go for the 20 bomb here. They want the 20 bomb.
I'm going to be honest, I kind of hope they get it. I mean, they've been playing this game immaculately. They deserve it. And there's just, again, they have so much control, and the pressure is really starting to funnel everyone into Alo, but he's actually going to get mollied, and I think he's going to go down here. Does he have a first aid? Is it going to get off? He's going to survive. Turning mollies. McCoy's actually going to burn.
They're taking a lot of damage off that one. Alo going to try and put some smokes down for him to climb out of this trench with. Jazz actually going to find Waldo on the way in with the Groza. Lots of damage going on to McCoy from that. Alo actually finds a knock there. McCoy going to have to do something here. Alo's actually going to find him. Alo clutching up here, putting kill points up for SDK. Veritas now in a position. They need this last kill to get to 20. 36 HP. Is he going to deny? He's going to take away the 20 bomb from them. Oh, no.
That's so toxic.
19 kills and the win for Veritas. But like we said, absolutely. And this is what we see for the entirety of the grand finals.
Yeah, and I'm inclined to agree with you. I think the overall level of play has been pretty big from some of the teams that we expected it to be, as far as the ones we wanted to improve. Sadly, I will say, as far as the teams on the bottom, Hardships is actually having a really rough go at things so far. It is just the first day. I want to remind everyone that it's not even close to being too late for any of these teams, let alone Hardships, but it has been a bad start so far.
Yeah, it's always worth remembering. PUBG is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yep.
But how often do we see teams just put themselves in a position where it's so difficult to capitalize in the final week? And again, you got to take into account grand finals is a 4-game day. That's also a factor for some of these guys. Teams that rely heavily on momentum or having a good start to kind of set the bar for them, and they can play a little more loose and maybe get a little more aggressive and creative with what they want to do. Hardships for me is one that's always been quietly consistent. So to see them having a bad start is actually a massive concern for me.
Yeah, because that's the thing with Hardships is, again, they may not be the flashiest team. I mean, sometimes they've shown us some pretty flashy plays together, but generally, as you said, they are very quietly consistent. And if we're not even seeing that from them, that may be a cause for concern. Obviously, again, with just the first day, I don't want to read too much into it. But, I mean, Hardships, I know for you as well. I mean, this is a team that I really love. I love watching these guys work. The fact that Chuba and Lobes have really stepped up as well has been great to see. But, yeah, we'll just have to see. I hope it gets better for them.
God,
seeing the circle,
dude.
probably not, because... Wow. It's a Stalber circle for the most part. We'll see if this actually does head north. But I think every game we've casted together today, Pac, the initial pop has only had 4 or 5 teams in it.
Max. Yeah. It's... Wow, a good one to end on. I hope everybody's got their macro notebook set up on their second monitor, because this is one that's going to be tricky, especially with a funky plane. There's going to be teams all over the place that, wouldn't necessarily be the expectation. Oh my God, dude. Okay, Top Dog's on third knock already, and it's 2 minutes, 20 seconds into the game. Please let him drive. Thank you.
Yeah,
but you're gonna...
Okay, it's... Moving on?
Dude, Steezy's chasing him. Steezy. Okay.
Steezy would be the madman with a pan in his hand chasing for a knock.
Yeah. Dude, that was the messiest vehicle collection I think I've ever seen in my life. I think initially Top Dog, his chute obviously got cut because of the trees. So we got knocked to falling initially.
Which, happens, sure.
It happens. But
not often. But
the double F tap to get in and out of the vehicle to then get run over by his teammate was the cherry on top.
Was a little unfortunate. Well, speaking of hardships, Pac, here they are. They're actually heading towards STK territory, to be completely honest, here with the South George. But STK's not here, so it's actually going to work out for them. STK is actually in Fairy Pier, of all places.
I actually like this because, again, Hardshift's reading into the situation. They're saying, look, a lot of teams on the second half of the plane, we don't even want to entertain that. We're going to get ourselves as far away, give ourselves some breathing space, decent amount of time to loot, whether or not, you can take into account the extra minute and a half they've spent kind of getting up there. But I like this move from the Hardshifts, get themselves away from the chaos that is the west side of the map currently, as well, or the southwest side of the map. Potentially get themselves a better access to the circle, because that's going to be important here, is how teams choose to get into this circle. Obviously, there was only 4 or 5 teams in it to start off with, but again, it's so difficult to anticipate what teams are going to do in a situation like this, because it's a bad plane followed by bad circle. People are going to be on the back foot from the get-go.
And I do truly believe that was Maluk's big, beautiful brain making that decision, because they actually have one of the best rotations into the map now, which is, as you said, it's to the northeast. It's going to be completely free for them unless the team magically, hits up Severny. But even still, early fights. It's going to be Poon fighting Monhardy. And One Eye Open is also another team that has been struggling so far today, sadly. And that's going to leave them a 3-man very early in the last game of the first day of Grand Finals, as Zenith is just gonna clean this up. Maybe that's not Greg Shot. The map stuff is just killing me today. It's like, what is Greg Shot doing there, and why hasn't he shot yet?
It's just to keep us on our toes, I guess. Yep. But a lot of teams actually prioritizing getting up here early, which is understandable. Again, with a circle like this, there's not going to be that many teams contesting center. So a few of the teams that were already in Circle 1 have made a mad dash kind of uphill. Rumble is still down in Yasnaya, but we now got Zenith, One Eye Open, ATC, Oath making their way up the East Coast. Veritas actually sending it all the way onto the west side of Stalver Hill. And, here's one member of ATC getting some hang time. That's Aguila on a 2-seater Delta, not landing any of the shots there, though. So we will escape with his life for the time being and regroup with Norcus.
The other big thing about these circles, Puck, that are so dangerous is you can't really play center on Stolber. I mean, you can. Most teams opt not to. And so what that ends up doing is it pushes everyone, to the rim, and the edge just gets so crazy. You have team fight after team fight. You have third, fourth. Sometimes we've seen even fifth parties get crazy up on Stolber Hill. So it's pretty wild. I mean, even these rotations moving in right now, you see Zenith trying to pick off Dodge as Finna went ahead and he's already knocked. So Stolber circles are crazy. They're wild and they're very, very bloody, very quick.
They are, and you make an interesting point because there's almost no point trying to centralize on these Stalber circles because you know that the majority of teams are going to be sweeping on foot. Mm-hmm. You sit in a compound, you run the risk of, if you keep getting the circle, you're just allowing teams to kind of get closer and closer to you. And how many times have we seen, games up in this part of the map just literally get decided by, what team gets given that edge in Circle 6. But hold that thought. Dodge actually pulling up onto ADZ here. Aguila holding onto a really cheeky spot inside the shack. Norcus going to find the first one onto Danny. Oh. But the backdoor peek from Lampalot shut that one down. And Aguila gets spot out as well. So Dodge going to pick up both of the kills here at the compound. ATC lose 2.
And Dodge came in really hot as well. They had just lost one, and Danny got knocked immediately. But good on Lamp and Adam to really kind of work together to figure out that puzzle that was ATC in the compound. But it's just Sharpshot now as he heads down towards the northwest side of the, I guess you can kind of call the central, just below Starbull. And Marsalek is also still alive, but this is not the compound for Sharp. He's just going to cruise on over.
He's snogging up. Again, just going to have to settle for something here. ATC the last two members of ATC very split apart right now, so probably just going to hold out, wait for some circles. I don't really think they're going to be able to regroup, to be honest with you. There's a lot of distance to cover.
No, unless Marsalek does like a really wide wrap towards the east. I mean, he's still in threat of being shot by Oath, who is settled just below Dodge as well as One Eye Open. And moving over to Sonics now, I mean, they have a really free run up to Stolber here. They can actually completely sweep the north side if they wanted to.
Could indeed. And again, being out on foot at this stage,
it's a risk.
It is.
But on Stolber, it's not as big of a risk. At least in the initial stages, right? Because you're not going to have too many teams up here this early. But we'll have to see. Hardships, again, so far this game, the decision, as you called out, was great from them to actually just go to South Georgia. It's a good read on Luke. Question is he going to take a shot or is he going to let the rest of his team get set up? What's the play here?
I thought maybe Maluk thought he was close enough to some hard cover that it wasn't worth taking those shots there, but it looked like he had a decent opportunity to get that knock. I mean, Roth didn't stop moving there, so it's not as if he did have like a plain and simple opportunity to get that one. But
the other thing as well is we kind of looked at the way they're posturing. It looks like Zenith might leave and Hardships might take over that little plateau compound there with the warehouse.
Yeah, well, with Circle closing in 2 seconds, I think Roth just getting ready with his 2-seater there to go wherever. It actually pulls all the way down to the southeast here. I mean, lots of space in the center of this one. If you look where it is, Oath probably going to dive back towards that compound, but lots of teams need to come back down and get back into this circle. Again, the Circle 2 shifts have been fantastic for us.
They've been great. They've been so great. I didn't want to say anything, but so far these shifts have been a delight to watch. I'm sure an absolute nightmare to play, but I'll be honest. I thought this one would probably stay around Stolber as they normally do, but this one shifted very hard to the southeast. Which leaves Oath, as you said, in probably the best position now on the map. Unless, of course, there's a team that takes the hill behind them and they're able to hold them out. Either way, I think this is great for Oath. Not so great for Sonics, as they're going to have to rotate through multiple teams. Dodge is going to be coming down off that mountain as well, getting shot by One Eye Open. And Duel actually in an interesting position here as well because it's quite central and pretty good. My question is, are they going to split the little one stories there, or are they going to just go 4 in the garage? And it looks like they're going to go 4 in the garage here as we look at J Compound and Comets.
Yeah, Lynxie just taking some tires out of the equation early on. Again, we know how often in the end game those 2 1 stories become a factor.
Yeah.
So I don't doubt that Duel will probably take them eventually. Zenith actually getting the knock onto Maluk, and we know that was the remnants of that scouting back over towards the warehouse. But Maluk kind of
where did he die? Yeah.
I mean, I assume scouting, and he's left the rest to hold onto the edge if anybody's late wrapping into the circle. Veritas, for example, pulling down to the south of them. But interesting decision.
Oh, Rumblers and the gas cans are going to get into it, and it's going to be Nikos that finds Gaxi. While they're going to find a knock in return, and it seems to be a pretty clean 2-on-2 at this point, I guess.
I'm confused. Rumblers were in Yasnaya.
Right.
What are they doing down here?
I mean, I guess they took a wide wrap down to the south, but Oldless is going to find Los, and now it's just Waldo and McCoy. And Los died a long ways away, so this is a really odd fight.
Yeah, it really is. McCoy going to try and find that barrel spray, but does nothing but damage to the fence. You get one of the reses back off. Gaxi back on his feet. He gets the first aid off as well. So 3 back up now for Rumblers, and maybe going to be able to swing this fight back in their favor. But again, I'm confused as to why Rumblers have ended up here.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think is, again, they wrapped to the south because they had a good position even in the first circle. I don't know. They find themselves here now fighting gas cans as Oldless is trying to get different angles, and I'll be honest, Gaxi and Waldo here not really being as proactive as they could be to maybe get different angles. And that's allowing gas cans to actually trap McCoy. It's just Gaxi and Waldo just sitting in this yellow.
Yeah, and put a molly down on the door, but again, things just falling apart for the Rumblers here. Gaxi, last man standing, he's been spotted out, tries to get the spray through the planked window, but not going to get anything done there. And now the Molotov spread, and Rumblers.
That's a head scratcher for me, Pac. I'm going to be completely honest, because there was a point where it was 3-on-2, and basically, I mean, the gas cans just got to do what they wanted there with the Oldest positioning himself where he did. So that's unfortunate for Rumblers.
It is. Circle pulled back after that hard southeast shift back up to the northwest now. So a little bit of relief for some of the teams that are outside on the west and the north, because it gives them an opportunity now to kind of reset, take stock of things, and maybe look to make a push onto a compound. But yeah, this one just bouncing every which way.
I'm gonna be honest, that $5 you told me to slip prim for these circles is definitely worth it.
Oh,
definitely.
100%.
It's a good call. It's an absolutely good call. Is he actually? What's happening over here now? You actually healing. Leta's been knocked. Oh, it's Duel. Duel able to hold then. Okay.
Comets came across from the glass house. Actually, Penta going to find the knock onto Yaxley there. So last man standing is Vegas, and Veritas are actually sending it straight towards the glass house here. He's got to get back outside. Is he going to look to defend this crash? He's actually coming back over to maybe try and get a kill point before going down. He's going to come on the outside there. Level 3 gear, but Keenan puts him down. Comets will go out in 15th place. They did look to pressure onto Duel there, and I think initially I saw a knock with the AWM in the kill feed, and maybe that was the go signal for Comets to try and take control of the flat top, but didn't work out for them.
Look at this. SDK now coming from the bottom side of this hill that Hardshifts are on, is Chuba maybe posturing to leave. I'm not sure if they're actually going to stay, because this is the very edge. Obviously, they are going to have to move in a little bit. And I don't think STK is going to back off this fight. It really just comes down to whether the fact Lobes and the rest of Hardshifts are, but nice shots coming out to Luke. He's going to have to heal, as this is not the best position for STK because of the high ground advantage that Hardshifts has.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're going to try and wait this one out and hope that Hardshifts gives something away to them. But you can see in the blue,
Purdy.
Oh my God, what's going on here?
This has been a game of splits that have not worked. Let me tell you, Paul.
Yeah, you could say that. And then Luke just killed himself with a Molly.
What's it? Okay.
I don't know exactly what's going on right now.
I'm gonna be honest. I've not been confused like this in a while. And it's not just one team. It's just the way that this circle is playing out. Obviously, it's bouncing back and forth, but this is posing massive problems for all these teams. Chubb is going to find Alo as it's basically a 2-on-2 here now between Hardships and STK.
I mean, Circle shifts back this way, funnily enough. Uncivil with the bolt out, going to fall to the blue. Kurt actually going to peek over the top. He finds Chubba. So just one standing now. Is he going to go for this? Yeah, he's going to try and get Alo back on his feet now.
You should be able to get it. Oh, no.
No.
Sorry, Alo. Good night, sweet prince. Duke of Wales. Lobes is actually still surviving. He's getting shot by, I believe, is Zenith.
I don't know, man. I just...
Duel
this one's been hard to follow.
Yeah, Duel is actually going to finish off the gas cans, and that should be a nice little chunk of kills for them coming out of this. That compound really paying dividends for them. They are going to finally have to move as the circle is once again shifted to the northwest. I don't know what's going on anymore. It's out of control. Veritas going to be able to find their way in here on the south, and they actually have a nice little ridge to play. Right in front of them. The biggest issue is Oath, and I'm curious as to what they're going to do. Because Veritas can play this.
They can, yeah, and they can play it late as well. That's the important factor. Duel trying to get some pressure into the back side of them. Oath now making their transition in from the east side, but you see here Duel trying to send shots up. They still have 4 up, so they do have a fighting chance if they can get some damage on the way in the kill feed. Actually, Zenith, who are holding on to that pivotal position on the dog leg in the road. They're getting picked apart by 2 different teams right now. Duel looking to make their move. Let's see what they do. Oath have actually managed to get themselves into the bottom of the valley here, and they're actually forcing Veritas back. They're actually going to get one of the knocks. Duel need to get something going here, to be honest.
Which is really interesting, actually, just to talk on that point, Pac, is because Veritas was playing that late specifically because they could see Oath or another team do that, but it's actually going to work to their disadvantage now.
It is indeed, yeah. I mean, Oath going there early is a big risk, but right now they're being allowed to stay here. Well, that's it. As I say that, Cherry finds a pick off on the extremity of Oath way out in the open here. Looks like Veritas is going to try and steal that one away, but Duel going to keep wrapping around to the east and try and find a way in here, maybe crash onto the bunker. But Dodge with their split, it's going to be difficult. They need to pick a team fight here. At the minute, they're settling for a really bad position on the edge, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, 6 kills, they're just fine early, but this is talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. I mean, they have nowhere to go. Those tires are gone. So anything that they want to accomplish as far as gaining ground is going to have to be done on foot and with utility as well. Meanwhile, it was actually Duel that did bail out Veritas in the sense that Oath was doing quite well and holding them back. And jeez, Balefrost, will you relax? First the Mini and now the SLR. And it's not like it doesn't have any kick either. Relax. God.
No, lots of pressure going over towards Veritas right now. Zenith, after taking a lot of damage, Shinboy last man standing. I mean, they pretty much just got picked apart down this one story here. Does shift back this way again, gives Veritas an into this next circle. Oath need to have a get out of jail plan for being down on the low ground there. They still got Duel to worry about though. Duel still lurking on the edge of the blue. It's a big factor for them as we're on board with this 1v1 between Marsalek and Shinboy right now. The Molotov comes out. Neither of them are going to go in the front door, but it keeps him pinned in there for the time being. Veritas gets some damage onto Shinboy.
And he
hears it, and yeah.
Lobes maybe going to make an appearance there? Nope, Lobes is too far away. I thought he was a little closer, but Marsalek's going to hold off the push there from Shinboy, and he's going to get the kill as well as the elimination. And now here comes Veritas. You were talking about it. T-treats.
Beamed.
Out of control. So far, I think the player that's, I mean, we already knew Dietrich was super impressive, but he is really finding his form so far in this grand finals, and it is damn impressive to watch, and it's good to see. I think Dietrich is nuts. And there it is, Oath starting to get rid of Duel, as we knew that they were in a really tough position. Dodge as well in a position to potentially punish, as we see One Eye Open starting to drive through, but where are they going?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult again. I can't help but think, in the previous circle when they were going back and forth, they would have had an option to pull up on Dodge, but now Cherry and Pence, the last two standing. Dodge now holding on to a pretty good spot on the edge here.
And Adam can afford to leave their puck because, I mean, that's not in. If One Eye Open wants to come in over that bunker, they're going to be wide in the open.
Why did Pence just cancel his first stage?
I don't know.
Maybe got a tag from elsewhere. I'm not sure. It's a freebie for Danny there. Cherry did actually get a knock onto Oath, so keep an eye on the kill feed if he can do anything else before falling. One Eye Open, as you said, they're going to push up towards the bunker entrance over on the trenches here. And you said Adam's already given this up, so giving One Eye Open a little bit of space to push into the open towards him. You can see Adam's actually got a prime position. But meanwhile, Keenan and Dietrich, oh my God, they peek over the top. Oath, like shooting fish in a barrel. They will fall in 9th place. 8 teams remain now.
I mean, I'd hate to correct you, but there's more like grenading fish out of a barrel, I guess.
Fair.
There was no need for that correction. I apologize, Park. Anyways, what I...
Yeah, absolutely right. Like throwing rocks at fish. There you go.
There it is. What I open now. Again, in a really rough position that they weren't in. Adam gave this up because he knew that eventually they would have to push up in the way of Dodge, and that's going to be an easy cleanup there from Adam and Danny G. Patron's also going to get knocked, and it's just down to Delta. And 0 kills. Unfortunately, they haven't really been in a position to capitalize, and so... realistically, they're looking at the placement point that they're going to get unless they can make something happen. It's really just Delta. If he can maybe get Patron up, I'm not even sure.
No, it's surprising Dodge are giving them the opportunity to get this res. I mean, Veritas flexing down to the south side. If Dodge don't get him, Veritas will. And again, just look at how proactive Veritas is. Michael's pushing off to the west side of the circle. Keenan holding anchor down in the southwest. Dietrich and Jazz are over here looking to pick up some kill points. I'm hoping... Okay, I was going to say, I'm hoping they don't. Oh my! As I say that, as I commend them, Lobes finds Michael up on the west side, and actually, Jazz are getting knocked down here by Delta, so they are going to collapse back onto this side, hold on to what they've got. But again, it's that willingness to go out and find control. That's what we didn't see from Veritas last time. Actually, Delta going to get Dietrich down, a fantastic spray with the 3x. Now Veritas got to be careful.
And a game that arguably was going very much in the favor of Veritas has fallen apart, and it's pretty much been to solos.
Who's going to be able to get both of these flushes?
Maybe not. Going to the high ground. I'm not sure if he knows Keenan has gone so far below, and the unfortunate thing about this play from Keenan is it's also buying a lot of time for Delta to basically flush the remaining 2 teammates he had. And that's going to cripple this team that was actually quite strong in the circle. And now Dodge is looking as though they're the dominant ones.
Yes, indeed. I see Keenan did just spot him out there. He's going to deal with it finally. But 8 kills. They've lost 3 now. When I'm absolutely with you. You could argue they were in a position, if they didn't get too overzealous, they would have been in a very, very good spot. But it is 3v2 v 1v1 in the last 4 teams here. So... Keenan potentially could still put some placement points up. Everything stacked over to the east side. It's just Lobes and Keenan.
And I'm really just
south.
I'm really just curious, Pock, if Dodge is going to actually be able to hold off Sonics. At the same time, technically these teams don't have to run into each other until maybe Dodge wraps the south and cleans up everyone else. We'll see if they're actually going to take that fight initially or what's going to happen. But Lobes also, I mean... realistically, Lobes has a lot of room on the west side to work with.
But there's one thing. After Lopes got that kill on Michael, he could place exactly where the rest of Veritas were because they had to deal with Delta. So the fact that he's repositioned now is going to keep Keenan guessing. You can see now he's looking for him, but I love the fact that now Keenan can't really do anything. He has to be aware of where Lopes potentially gone. Sonic's actually going to get this shift. So everybody except for Sonic's have to find a way into this next circle, and it's pretty much one sweeping hill.
Yeah. It's one sweeping hill, and there's really only one decent angle of approach, at least for Dodge, because of the two solos that are still left, and that's going to funnel them potentially right into Sonics or into one of the solos to get a potential knock and really kind of muddy things up for them. But it looks like they're actually going to engage on Sonics. They're committed to this. Lamplot is going up on the low ground. I really like this play because he's denying sight and could potentially get a really clean knock here on Mime if he's up for the task.
Interesting here. It's only really Lampalot pushing over this direction, so this
is a big play. If Lamp lands this, that potentially could be the game for Dodge. And throwing grenades is actually going to give him away. Mime going to get away from that one, and now I think Quinn is privy to it. Yep, Quinn's looking in his direction.
Yeah, the problem is now, actually, the fight's going off on the other side as well, so Dodge not really kind of focusing on one side of this, giving H-Win and Mime an opportunity to kind of clutch up in this scenario. To be honest with you, Danny G's going to find H-Win, and Mime taking a lot of damage. That's going to be Sonic's going down in third place now. Veritas did fall as well, so it's just Lobes. This is a three-man of Dodge here. 8 kills for Dodge.
Yeah.
Really good stuff from them in the final game of the night.
Yeah, and they've been fairly consistent, honestly, so far all day. I mean, they've had some decent games. Got a good amount of kills. Crate, Lobes, turn around. No. Could have been a salvation. But either way, Lobes just running through the open. Yeah, he's just looking for the last 3 players, potentially. And it looks like Dodge is going to close this one out. 9 kills and a win, unless Lobes makes a miracle play here. Just kidding.
Oh, how did that nade not kill him? The
that
second
one
does.
though, or that one, or the third one. So that is gonna be it. Dodge with